Hello there guys, so this is another 101 Beginners Witchcraft video. I'm sorry it's taken me a hot minute to do another one of these videos. And it's not going to be the spell one that I was intending to do, but one that I was intending to do a bit later. And I'm going to move around the spell video for the pure reason that busyness has been off the chain for the last 2 weeks. I haven't paused. And so I want to do this video first because I find it easier just to sit and talk to you guys about things. I'm also just gonna stick my crown on. What do you reckon? I had this as a prop, guys, for the store, and I kind of freaking love it. There are clips, like my hair is way too shiny to put this on right now. There we go. Queen. It's so much fun. I kind of love this. It's so much fun. I just wanted to share that with you guys. All right, silly. Anyway, we're going to be doing book recommendations. So this is something that I get asked of a lot. Can you please recommend me books on witchcraft? Sometimes I'm not going to recommend any more organic books here. What we're actually doing is we're going to do Wyrd books, W-Y-R-D, but also Wyrd, because I want to show you guys some different ideas of books that I think will really, really help you, even if you're a beginner, by giving you a slightly different angle, a slightly different perspective on how to approach witchcraft in the beginning. Because let's face it, there are going to be 1,000 videos out there already with like very basic 101 books for you guys to partake of, to nom, and they all get a little bit repetitive. In the beginning I got really frustrated because I was really into it and I thought it was all great, but a lot of the books repeated a lot of the same information, and so I really wanted some suggestions that were outside of the norm. And if I felt that way back in the day, then I'm hoping people might still feel that way, fingers crossed, today. So I have 3 books that I'm going to recommend. One extra book which is non-instructional. It's a novel, but I want to explain why. We might do that one first, and then my own book, because if we're putting books out there, self-service and all, you know. Plus I really believe in it, so there's that. But we will start with the novel that I read and I've nearly finished, and recently I got super into this. This is Cersei. So Cersei is by Madeline Miller, the author of The Song of Achilles. This is a modern take on the mythology of Cersei, and from the Greek mythology. It follows the story of her life, and it interweaves from her perspective, challenging preconceived notions of Greek mythology, which I love. I'm all about challenging particularly Greek mythology, because it feels like it's been so harnessed by the ruling body at the time to give a certain impression of what they believed and kind of like dumb down what the women's roles was. This, however, takes a good look at an interplay of what witchcraft means through the archetype of Cersei. I did a set for Cersei more recently through Starry-Eyed Supplies, and since then I've been seeing her everywhere, and like this is definitely an archetype that keeps coming up. So I just want to show you the absolutely beautiful picture of her island here, with some of the details from her life. So the artwork is really pretty, but the book itself is really, really evocative. It's thrilling. It's really interesting how they take a character which has been so demonized and give her a sympathetic edge. They explain how it feels to be other she explains how it feels to be other in a really beautiful way. It has some really gorgeous elements of like plants and the vibrance of the world around her and the connection to animals and plant life and things of that nature. And it is a novel. It's not meant to be an instructional guide, but I think it is important to partake of novels and other spiritual mediums that portray witches, even if it's not a guide. And I think it's really important to do this so we don't lose perspective. Now, there is a whole argument going on right now about certain things, particularly Sabrina, the Teenage Witch, the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, sorry, not the original. The original probably didn't offend many people. That is portraying witches in a negative light, and there are people getting up in arms about it, and some people really love it, and it's a nice conversation to have. But I think what really helps is to sort of ruminate. Is that the word I want? Probably not. It feels wrong. Ruminate on the energies of mythology anyway, what it means to look beyond mythology. We are often presented with mythology, and then we kind of get a snap judgment thing depending on which deity we're looking at and which mythology. And sometimes eking out what feels right beyond the mythology is a really necessary and really worthwhile pursuit when you're engaging in witchcraft. So I definitely recommend Cersei for some bedtime reading. Right, so the next 4 are all witchcraft books. I'm just going to plug mine right here. This is my book. This is a book of channeling the Dark Goddess, the collection of sacred poetry, songs, and ritual work. And so if you haven't gained a copy of Joey's book, second book already, there's 2, because here's the first one. And the cover art is by the gorgeous Molly Roberts, who contributed to this. She's such a sweetie. And yeah, there's all sorts of poems and songs and ritual work that you can partake of in here. And another book that I got recently, and I really want to share with you guys, which is also poetry, is I Am Her Tribe. And wow, okay, so it says it on the cover, but it's not showing up because of the bright lighting. This is Danielle Dolby. And oh my goodness. So I came across her work because of her pieces on the star signs, which were being shared around on Facebook. And once I found out that she had a book, thanks to the Nephilim Rising, and these were all in a book with poetry, I grabbed it. And so, oh, it's just so beautiful. On the back, for her, with her, because I am her, and so are you. And there's a sisterhood link. There is a connection to soul. There is so much in here. It's difficult to put it into words. I'm going to read the Virgo one because I absolutely love the Virgo one. I am a Virgo, in case you didn't know. And it has the constellations look at the top, which I absolutely adore. I am her, ruled by the element earth and her structured, creative messiness. Her story is one of detail and bewilderment, always observing, absorbing, greeting each feeling as though she were meeting it for the first time. She is a seeker of goodness, both in herself and the world around her, always inviting others to rise into the gifts they have to offer. Bare feet, Palo Santo, weathered books, the smell of cedar. She is tender heart, written words, and dirty paintbrush water. As she gets older, the stronger the call echoes for her to be outdoors, to have the sun kiss her face, her naked limbs, skin on soil, to remind her of the powerful connection she shares with the earth she stands on. Her heart craves stillness and grounding, so she offers her dreams to be held amongst the trees, inhaling the sky's possibility and wonder. It's here, in this space, she can breathe, deeply breathe, and give her creativity the safe space to grow alongside her. I could cry. I am not even kidding, because this is the most profound analysis of a Virgo energy that I have ever read. I don't know about you guys, but if you're an earth sign, you will probably know, although it happens to the odd other sign too, that there is a huge stereotype thing. The earth signs are treated badly by a lot of people. They're treated as boring and uncreative, and like a lot of the liminal people I know are Virgos, like not all of them, and a lot of the liminal people are earth signs. And so it's just the most beautiful description. It moved me so much. I shared it on the Facebook page when I saw it, and when I realized there was a whole book, I grabbed it. And I'm going to read one more from her because I think it's really important to do. Okay. I will not apologize for my heart, my fire, divine power, or tender softness. These forces catapult the universe into a forward motion. Both soft and fierce can coexist and still be powerful. And it's actually split up like this over 2 pages. And the way the interplay of words, it kind of flows through. And so you can read them as a singular or as a story, and the weaving element of this is absolutely beautiful. And I will read to you the chapter titles because I think this is really important and gives you a good feeling of the book: The Invitation, The Aching, The Nectar, The Rise, The Sacred, and The Alchemy. So the reason that I recommend this, as well as other poetic books, is because to me poems are the language of magic and the language of the soul. You can find this in both, very strongly, both in Nordic and Celtic traditions, where the idea of prophetic poetry, of the spoken word, the sacredness of the poetic expression of soul is held paramount in the world of magic. And if you can get into some kind of poetry that speaks to you, which goes beyond the kind of stuff that often a lot of us learned at school and hated, you can really begin to feel and touch something sacred and divine and magical. And it really begins to give shape to your form and thought, and magic weaves underneath those spaces. So I highly recommend it. This is very empowering as well. So if you're looking for something empowering along the path, I highly, highly recommend that. So the next one is a herbalism magic book from Nigel G. Pearson at Troy Books, which is Walk Cunning, a Folk Herbal Medicine. This is absolutely beautiful little book, as they always are from Troy Books. The cool thing about this is it's 2 books in one. So if you go to this side, it's Walk Cunning, a Folk Herbal Medicine, with the it's very, look at some of the artwork though, that's really pretty. And then it's very much about folklore, about medicine, sorry. So you have remedies in here. Now you turn the book over, and on this side are folk magic herbal. So this side is all about the magic of plants and herbs, along with suggestions. And so there you go. Each herb is given a section. It's not too long. A lot of them are given spells or rituals or some folklore that is really interesting, and a little insight into each one of the herbs. It's quite self-contained, quite small, as quite often they are from Troy Books. And it is a lovely little introduction, which not only can kind of help you get into the rhythm of herbal magic with a bit of a folklore backup, but also they're really gorgeous. They're stunning in terms of like books that you can have out to look at them and you're like, yeah, I feel witchy today. I might do some herbalism today. I might pick up my witchy book. I might feel that way, you know, I might feel good about it. And that's something that I think is really fun when you're getting into witchcraft. Sometimes you have to kind of get into the feel of something and then do the research part. So the last book is by a woman who I admire with all my heart and soul. I love her work so much. This is The Holy Wild by Danielle Dulski. I've mentioned this before. This is a big book. Boop. There she is in all her gorgeousness. And my God, she's one of the most beautiful women on the planet. And it's just so beautiful. So she separated it into the Book of Earth with earth rituals, the Book of Water with water rituals, the Book of Fire with fire rituals, the Book of Air with air rituals, the Book of Ether, which is spirit if you don't know, and those magics. And it is just soul food. I don't know how else I can put this. I'm going to like have a look if there's something that I want to. Yeah. So some of this on the surface of it might feel like it's a bit beyond where you might feel at as a complete beginner. But I think what happens quite frequently is people decide beginners or newbies are not intelligent just because they're not well versed in what they're doing. They give them very little credit, and I don't think that's the way to go. So look at this. Your inner earth altar, a ritual for the everyday warrioress. I might just read to you a little bit. You are a living altar. Full stop. You've learned something from that first line. What does that mean? Do not be afraid to leave behind your pagan statuary, totems, and central candles. You carry all the divinity you need within your blood and breath. Handcraft a personal mantra to keep with you, to remind you of your journey along the Red Road and to affirm your personal priestess power. It is kind of aimed more at women, this book, I will say that. Words carry power. What you tell yourself in a single sentence will remind you of your magic and your wild. What words can you cling to when the storm comes, when some snide remarks threaten to break you, or someone calls you to this or to that? What can you tell yourself to remind yourself that you are, after all, born of the elements, a star child of the holy wild? And then she goes into some more examples, so she gives quite a lot of detail. And this book is just beautifully written. It's almost poetically written. She has a beautiful style, and it goes into all elements, and you can actually just work through this book because each stage is separated into an element and the appropriate energies that she has chosen around each element. So if you were looking to be learning about the elements and how that really impacts you on a spiritual level, that's something you could work through. And it is just connecting to something sacred and old and gorgeous and magical and other. It's really freaking beautiful. So these are my 4 selection and 5 with the novel of Wyrd books that you can take a look at even as a beginner, things that are going to open you up to an experience that is worth having and speak to you like you're an intelligent, articulate human being, which you are. You are, and you don't need to be spoon-fed everything, and to think, to feel, to put your feet in something deep and meaningful is connecting to that live wire of energy that brought you to the path in the first place. So don't be afraid of these books. Don't be afraid of your own feelings and thoughts on things or expressing yourself, because that is the point. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Those are my top picks. Many blessings. I will catch you on the next one. I'll try and get the spell done, video done for the next 101 Witchcraft, so we can keep these ticking over and you get your videos. So that's it. Many blessings, and catch you on the next one.